see it. Can you hear okay? Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the wall over here in the chamber. There's also an automatic defibrillator that's available on the back wall of the legislative chambers. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will begin with the agenda for the Douglas County Board of Equalization. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Maureen Boyle. Commissioner Mike Boyle. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Here.
Commissioner Friend.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan. I see you there. So you may be on mute, Commissioner Morgan, but he's present. Commissioner Rogers. Here. And Madam Chair.
Present. Item A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held Tuesday, January 26, 2021. And item B, call for a meeting and set Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 as a date for hearing on certified assessment corrections reflecting the addition of omitted property to the tax rolls or increased value on property. Is there a motion to approve A and B? Motion by Commissioner Boyle, seconded by Commissioner Rogers. Any questions or comments? Please vote.
I vote yes.
Okay.
Voting yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh, Morgan voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
Next is item C, citizen comments. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the Board of Equalization about an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move to resolutions, items D and E, and adjournment. Is there a motion? There's a motion by Commissioner Boyle, seconded by Commissioner Rogers. Any questions or comments? Please vote.
Voting yes.
I vote yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh, Morgan voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
We will move to the agenda for the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Maureen Boyle. Commissioner Mike Boyle. Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Here.
Commissioner Friend.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Madam Chair.
Present. Item 1, minutes and claims. Item A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held Tuesday, January 26th. There's also minutes from our Tri-County Legislative Breakfast on Monday, January 25th, and minutes of the pre-board meeting on Monday, January 25th. And then we have B, the approval of the claims submitted for payment process through Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Is there a motion to approve A and B? Motion by Commissioner Boyle, seconded by Commissioner Rogers. Any questions or comments? Please vote.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh, Morgan voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
Next is our consent agenda, items A through I. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Boyle, seconded by Commissioner Rogers. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Commissioner Boyle, Mike Boyle?
Yes, it's really not so much a question, but it's item F, as in Frank. I looked at it, and it's 79 pages long, and it's pretty lengthy. And if you haven't read it yet, it's something that we probably ought to have on available for citizens as well. But it's really a comprehensive. It is really, that's what it says. It is a comprehensive plan for juvenile care. So it's a good document to review. So I just make that comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyle. Any other questions or comments? Please vote.
I vote yes.
Voting yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh and Morgan voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
Next is recognition and proclamations. We have a resolution recognizing February 2021 as Black History Month in Douglas County, and Commissioner Rogers and I are going to share in reading of this resolution. Whereas Black History Month began in 1915, half a century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States, and grew out of Negro History Week and creation of noted historian Carter G. Woodson and other prominent African Americans. And whereas with the Civil Rights Movement and a growing awareness of Black identity, Black History Month, or National African American History Month, evolved into an annual celebration of achievements by Black Americans and a time for recognizing the central role of African Americans in U.S. history. And whereas each year Black History Month has a different theme and focus, which is set by the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, an organization founded in 1915 by Carter G. Woodson. And whereas the 2021 theme for Black History Month is the Black family, representation, identity, and diversity, and will focus on ways in which Black families have been negatively stereotyped and also separated from their birthplaces through the atrocity of slavery and the lasting effects this has had. And
whereas African Americans from all walks of life have greatly contributed to the success of our nation throughout its history, and they have made indelible marks through their efforts as artists, scientists, educators, business people, influential thinkers, members of the faith community, athletes, political and government leaders, and so many other walks of life. And whereas despite the many reminders of inequality in 2020, the push for racial equity continues to gather momentum through efforts such as Black Lives Matter, which has been called the largest movement in U.S. history, and has been nominated for the 2020 Nobel Peace Prize for bringing forward a new consensus and awareness about racial injustice. And whereas remaining hopeful and confident about the path ahead, and a time to acknowledge the courageous fight for the rights, liberties, freedoms for all, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners celebrates Black History Month and encourages all Americans to learn about the heritage and achievements of African Americans. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of the Douglas County Commissioners that this board hereby recognizes February 2021 as Black History Month in Douglas County and further honors the tremendous contributions and achievements made by African Americans, and I would move for approval.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, seconded by Commissioner Boyle. Is there any questions or comments? Please, yes? Larry?
Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. I'm going to remove the mask because I don't want to be misunderstood, and it is hard to understand words sometimes with these. But I stand against part of this resolution, and only part. The part that, this might upset some people, but the part about Black Lives Matters. Most people, we need to discuss that because most people do not know that the founders of Black Lives Matters are admitted Marxists. And Marxism is antithetical to our Constitution, our way of life, even with the freedom of speech, Article 1, because it is against our nature and our freedom. The symbol for Marxism is the raised fist. Now, I don't know how many people of color realize that, but because they're trying to move us to a democracy, they're moving to mob rule, which is seen on the streets of Omaha. And that raised fist upsets an awful lot of people like me. I don't want Marxists running around the streets of Omaha, and I will not grant them a Nobel Peace Prize. Marxists have murdered millions of people. And I hope that when people of color learn their history of that they won't take to the streets because they're angry that the Black Lives Matters movement took over their movement. I buy into Martin Luther King. That was taken over by some bad characters, and his message was changed to be one of democracy and crowds, which turns usually to tyranny. If I've got another minute or so, I'd like to read something out of the Trumpet magazine regarding democracy to anarchy, which those usually turn into, but what revolution can mean. And here in Omaha, we have a magazine, The Reader, which very prominently on the front shows people with their hand in the air and the big bold letters, revolution. That's got to stop. That's pitting us against each other. But anyway, revolution could mean a sudden political change, but it can also refer to the cyclical orbiting of a body around an axis, a movement that occurs repetitively, predictably. The correlation is fitting because for 6,000 years of human history, suffering under poor governance has inflamed the desire for change or democracy, which has sparked hope in a new regime. The promise of progress has motivated almost every election, putsch, coup, and revolution in history, whether it's the French in 1789, the Bolsheviks in 1917, the Iranian hardliners in 1979, the Nazis in 1933, or the Islamic State in 2016. No leader ever sets out to create a legacy of same old status quo failure, yet with frustrating consistency. This is precisely what they end up achieving, or worse. And the suffering resumes, and the cycle repeats. So let's talk honestly about that. I would prefer that you strike out the Black Lives Matters reference to the Nobel Peace Prize in honor of our founding fathers. Thank you.
Commissioner Rogers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I usually wouldn't respond, but I need to put on the record that Black Lives Matters founders are not Marxists. And the fist movement you're talking about is not owned by Marxist symbols. It was used to fight apartheid. It was a symbol people held up to fight apartheid in South Africa. It was used for Black Power movements. It's not owned by Marxists, and the Black Lives Matters founders are not Marxists. And if your source is the Trumpet, and I'm not saying it for dialogue, I'm just saying to correct the record. If your source is the Trumpet, I mean, the front page cover of the Trumpet.com says that Trump is coming back. So basically, that's where I'm at.
Larry, you're out of order.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Please vote.
They admit it.
Larry, you're out of order.
They admit it.
Please vote. Thank you.
I vote yes.
I vote yes, PJ.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh and Morgan voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
Citizen comments. Is there anyone in the chamber wishing to speak to the Board of Commissioners about an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to presentations. We do have a COVID and vaccine plan update presented to us by Dr. Adi Poor, who is going to present to us via Zoom.
Where'd she go? She's not there.
I think we lost her.
I think so too. Maybe she'll come back in.
For those on Zoom, we're just waiting for Dr. Poor to be able to hook back in here. So it'll be just a minute. Mm-hmm.
While we wait, can I ask, just so I don't forget, that under GH and other legislation, can we add to talk about LB 586? Thanks.
Since Dr. Poor has not been able to hook back in, I think we will move on to legislation. We have, or to committees, I should say, and then, oh, hang on, here she is. Dr. Poor, I think we see you. There you are. Okay, never mind. We'll go with Dr. Poor giving her update. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners. I just got kicked off again, so you know, this is what's happening. So I'm just going to give you a quick update, and I just got some information. So this week we are in the fortunate situation where we are starting to open up clinics across Douglas County for those 80 years and above, for seniors. And we have an appointment system that went up starting last Friday. We are full for this entire week, today, tomorrow, through Friday. We still have openings on Saturday. And I just got a note back. So this morning at 9 o'clock was the first time we opened for our seniors at our church, Community Christ Church site. And Phil just texted me and said everything is really going well. And, you know, that is our biggest concern, is that we are here for the seniors, that we are making it easy for them, especially those who are elderly, who may have some underlying challenges and so on. So I'm really, really happy to hear that. As you know, we have those 4 clinics with partnerships through our healthcare systems. We have one around 144th and Millard Avenue that is run by Nebraska Medicine and is open 2 days a week. Then we have the Christ Community Church that's still kind of a short-term site at this time, and we have that one open also for 2 days in a week. That is Tuesday and Wednesday from 9 to 5. Then we have CHI Emmanuel Medical Center, and that one is up, of course, on 72nd and Sorensen. It's Wednesday and Fridays from 9 to 5. And we have the Creighton University Rasmussen Center, 702 North 17th Street, and that one is open on Saturdays, beginning February 6th from 9 to 5. Now, that location still has openings, and we would encourage those who are 80 years and above, born in 1941 or earlier, go on our site and sign up. Each of these major community sites have potentially 1,400 doses per week. So they are dividing it up per 2 days so that they have potentially 700 individuals or appointments that they can make. So we give seniors some time, and we need to kind of see how the flow goes. These individuals can take more appointments, and remember, 3 weeks from now, we'll have secondary dose appointments at the same site. So that will then double the amount of people who come through, because then those with secondary dose needs will have to come back. We also have given doses to each of the federally qualified health centers, Charles Drew, One World, and Fred Leroy, 200 doses to each and 250 to One World. And if they need more doses, we will provide them more doses. There is no question about it. We want them to serve their patients, but some of them are also willing to serve people from their community only. So we'll see how that goes. Then we have an agreement with Methodist. They have the diabetes van, and we are giving them about, I think, 100 or close to 100 doses this week. They go to different sites every week, and so they'll take those doses with them. And we are starting a small pilot with Hy-Vee Pharmacy, one on North 30th Street and one on 51st and Center. These 2 pharmacies are only wanting about 80 to 100 doses a week, because they just want to see how the throughput works in these pharmacies. So we are happy to work with them. And then Cole's Pharmacy, who also has been an excellent partner, they are getting close to, I think, 700 doses, because what they are doing, they are going to independent senior facilities where they are going to vaccinate the entire facility there, and these seniors do not have to come in and drive to one of the community sites. So what we are really trying to do, and I do think it is probably one of the best practices, that you are trying to have multiple options for people to get vaccinated, not just one big area where people have to stand in line for 2 hours or longer. What we are seeing in our appointments is that we potentially are going to have some open appointments, and therefore at the end of this week, we are now going to open it up then for the next 5 years, for those 75 years and older. And that's what we will do. We'll always make sure that everybody, that the seniors will have the first one, so to say, for the appointments. But if we have opening, then we go to a lower age group and to a lower age group. At the same time, as of today, as you have heard the state say, we potentially put 90% of our dose allotment towards seniors. And about 10% we put towards those classes that go into the tiers below. So this week we are starting to vaccinate also our law enforcement because they are the first level in the next tier. And our law enforcement is a large workforce, and we are trying to be step in step with Lincoln. Us and Lincoln, we talk a lot. We want to do the same thing at the same time because all these groups are talking to each other. So that will start this week, and then we'll go down further. Correction, homeless shelters, and we'll get to educators and utility workers. That's kind of my update for today. I'm not sure if you are interested. I just can share with you, we have in Douglas County, not excluding the big pharmacy program, but in Douglas County, we have given 46,320 vaccines as of this morning. 34,109 are first doses, and 12,211 are second doses already. So 2.86% of the Douglas County residents are fully vaccinated at this point.
All right.
I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Poor. Let's see, we have Commissioner Maureen Boyle.
Yes, just a couple things. A lot of it has to do with logistics. But before we get to that point, can you tell me, have we seen a decrease in numbers in nursing homes now that we have them vaccinated?
Commissioner Boyle, that's a very good question. What we know from nursing homes, that all of them have potentially received the first dose, but that's just the first dose. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done for the second dose. So it is a little bit too early to already talk about the effects that we have seen. We have seen, however, some good results from nursing home, and I just got a report yesterday where the cases have really decreased, and it's probably a combination. You know, monoclonal antibodies have been widely used in Nebraska, so that plus vaccination hopefully had an impact, and we hopefully will see further decreases.
Good deal. And then also, just as an aside, I think a lot of the issues we know with nursing homes has to do with the staff not being vaccinated at the rate that other healthcare professionals do. But I guess and then the next thing I want to just mention, a lot of it has to do with logistics. Like I said, are there any efforts to do something like Kohl's is doing, where we're going out into smaller homes, assisted living facilities, number one? Number two, is there a thought to have like drive-through vaccinations, just like the COVID testing is done?
So I'm going to take the second question first. Yes, there are going to be plans for drive-through vaccinations, but probably not until March or April when the weather gets better. So we are already planning right now where Test Nebraska potentially could change over then to be a vaccination site instead of a testing site only. But the weather needs to be warmer because you have to wait 15 minutes and just for staff to be there. So that's the first thing. The second thing, are we going to have like what I would call strike teams to go out in certain neighborhoods? Yes, we do. We have some vans that we are purchasing and that we have ordered many weeks ago. And we are going to plan with those to go into neighborhoods, yes.
Okay, and those are all things that will happen then, I assume, as weather gets better. Okay.
Exactly. And Nebraska Medicine also has offered a van that they would be able to go into communities. So all of this will be, once we have more vaccine, I think we'll have more ability to do different ways of reaching the community.
Good. My big concern, of course, is getting this to the communities of color who are increasingly impacted, not only because of their roles as essential workers a lot of the time, but also because of the comorbidities they may have. But I think the other thing is we have to make an extra special effort to get to folks that can't get to us. Things that are barriers are things like the website. Some people don't have access to that, so won't be or don't hear about it, don't know. For example, this Creighton facility is open on Saturday. And I think that should be targeted to those communities and populations that need the vaccine the most. So I think we have to figure out a way to make some type of effort to really reach out to the communities in North and South Omaha to let them know that vaccines are coming their way, and then and even that there is a facility right now on Saturday that's going to be open for access to start getting vaccinated.
Correct. So we have reached out to community leaders in North and South Omaha to get the message out, and Commissioner, one of the commissioners already has done, Commissioner Rogers has
Rogers.
done some of it yesterday
Yes.
already, and we are doing more. The FQHCs are really trying to get messages out. We're trying to get messages out in South Omaha too, and we are trying to look for more sites in North and South Omaha, and are just in discussion right now.
Thank you very much.
Next is Commissioner Kavanaugh, and then Commissioner Mike Boyle.
Thank you. Thanks, Doctor. I think last week when you briefed us, you indicated that Douglas County was receiving something like 6,600 doses a week. And I just did a quick math on the numbers you just gave, and it looked like we were at about 7,250. Has the dosage allocation for Douglas County increased?
Yes, it has, and you are getting an A for math. It definitely, and this is what is always a little bit difficult about this, is that we don't have a pure certainty what the amount of doses. So late Friday afternoon, we got the word from the state that they have some returns from big pharmacies, and therefore they had some more Pfizer product that they were providing to us. So we got a bump up in doses last week, which will take any day, any time.
That's great. The law enforcement, you indicated that you're moving into, that's good. Do you have a number on that cohort of law enforcement individuals that you'll be vaccinating?
Yes. The total number, or around, not a total number, but it's about 3,000 people that we would need to vaccinate. So we'll see what we have left over in addition to this week. So I would hope at least we'll do about 1,500 this week, especially since we had the special allotment to us.
That's great. And this is a bit of an overlap. We've spoken about this before. The judiciary just sent out a notice. I don't know if this went to everybody, but it went to all lawyers, that they were canceling civil jury trials in March. That's going forward 2 months. And we've talked about our initiative going to the criminal justice system because it's basically stymied by its inability to hold jury trials. Have we had any progress on that? I know that a portion of this is law enforcement because we have, sheriff's deputies and police officers in our courts. Have we had any progress getting the judiciary vaccinated so we can get our justice system back and up and going?
Not so much the judiciary, but of course, if these individuals belong into the age groups that we are vaccinating, or if they are law enforcement, they would actually fit in. Correction staff, yes, they will be vaccinated pretty quickly at this time.
Okay. And just in your own bailiwick, the Douglas County Health Department, you as the director, have you been able to receive vaccinations?
Yes. The health department, actually public health, is in tier 5 of phase 1A.
All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Mike Boyle.
Good morning, Doctor. I wanted to follow up a little bit with some of the law enforcement. I didn't hear whether you were I assume that's the Omaha Police Department, Omaha Fire. Does that include the Douglas County Sheriff's Office as well, and volunteer fire departments in Douglas County?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so they're going to be getting their shots very soon?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Then I wanted to ask about, we're still getting plagued by the comments that the governor made that were kind of awkward, where he suggested that immigrants were not going to be able to get inoculated. I think what he was talking about was that there are no undocumented people at the packing houses, and then he made some comment that spilled over that I'm not going to repeat because it just confuses matters. I just would like you to clarify that no one is checking citizenship when a person shows up to get a vaccine. Is that correct?
Nobody is checking any documentation in regards to driver's license, citizenship, or so on. As a matter of fact, I'm getting criticized quite a bit because we have cheaters and people are saying, why are you not checking, for example, driver's license or so on? And we are not. We are not. I depend on the honesty of individuals who, when their time comes, that they go and get vaccinated. We will not check documentations. We have been very, very clear on this.
Well, if you'd like, you can use what I say, and I've gotten criticism too, and not as much as you, I'm sure, but what I say is all we look to see if they're a human being, and they're created in God's image and likeness, and they have an arm that needs a shot. So that's what I'm saying, and anyone who shows up and qualifies under the rules of who's supposed to be showing up gets a shot, because they are children of God, is what I'm saying. So there you have it. And so I appreciate your attitude, and I know you take a lot of heat. Also, let's see, I did want to clarify, Commissioner Maureen Boyle asked you about Creighton University, and I know people have to have to sign up and have a reservation to get a shot. You can't just show up at Creighton, right? It's
That's
another
correct.
site.
Yeah, especially, we want to do it by appointment only, so
Right.
that these seniors do not have to wait in line. That's really the purpose of
Right.
it.
Okay, but everybody does have to have an appointment, is that correct?
Correct. Everybody does need to have an appointment, but if they do not have internet, there is our information line, 444-3400, where people can call and they get assisted we'll assist them to make an appointment.
Okay.
So
Well,
we have made hundreds of appointments for people.
okay, that's great. Well, thank you very much. You're doing a terrific job, a lot of pressure, and hopefully we're getting more and more vaccine, which is a good thing, and I rely on Commissioner Kavanaugh's math and yours, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyle. Commissioner Rogers?
Dr. Poole, can you reiterate, I got a call, can you reiterate just, for instance, right now we're doing 80 and over, but I got a call from a couple of people that are 75 and they have underlying conditions. How are we handling that in regards to this right now?
Okay, so those, Commissioner, those who are 75, born in 1946 or before, they potentially can go on the Douglas County website on Thursday, this coming Thursday, February 4th. And we'll open the site for that age range, potentially, we hope by 9 o'clock in the morning. So, they can go on there. Let's not all go at the same time, because otherwise the site is going to crash again, as it did last week. So I would encourage people, during that day or on Friday, they can start making appointments. I think what we are seeing is we are planning it so that there are enough appointments for everyone to get on there in an orderly fashion. And once we are finished, now back to your question, Commissioner Rogers, once we are finished with the seniors, the next group then is those 18 to 64 years old with underlying condition. And what we are asking of those people, we are asking to sign up on the state website. And the reason for that is the state website is using a very specific algorithm that identifies then those individuals to make an appointment. We don't have that capability on our website. Our website really, and our appointment schedule was made as an in-between until the state website is up.
So next week, it'll go down 5 years to where they can go to Thursday it'll go down 5 years where the 75 and under can go. And I know I remember us talking, so is it every week or some time period, it'll go down 5 years each week or something like that till you get to the 65, the general 65 and over.
That's what we are hoping.
Okay.
But I also need to share with you, we'll look every week. If all the appointments are full for 3 weeks, we won't open it up for the next cohort. We'll only open it up when we see we have appointments now, we can go to the next group.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mike Boyle, is this your second time?
I need to follow up on something that occurred just now. I'm waiting my turn. I haven't tried to get ahead of anybody or anything else. I'm 77 and I have some underlying health problems. So on Thursday, do I go to the state site or to the county site and get an appointment? Which one do I go to sometime after Thursday at 9 o'clock?
Commissioner Boyle, if you want to have an appointment next week or the week thereafter, you go to the Douglas County Health Department website.
Okay.
And make an appointment, because on the state website, you cannot make appointments yet.
Okay.
So you're just going to be sitting there. So I would encourage you Thursday or Friday, go on the Douglas County Health Department website and make your appointment.
Okay, and if someone does not have a computer, they should call 402-444-3400, correct? 3400?
Yes,
And they could do
that's
that to make an appointment to get a shot sometime after 9 o'clock Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, that's great information. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Commissioner Boyle. And Dr. Poor, with the new COVID strains that are out there, if someone gets vaccinated for the original strain that we are getting vaccinated for, but now these new strains are there, does that mean that they could potentially get it again, and because these vaccines aren't working for the new strains that are out there?
So the three new strains, out of UK, South Africa, and Brazil, it seems like the Pfizer vaccine and Moderna, both of these vaccines are protective against these three strains. I think where we have discussions, where the scientists have discussion, is on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that is up for approval potentially later on this month. That vaccine was tested against the South African strain and was only, I think, 56% effective. So there is some question, and that is why we need to vaccinate individuals as quickly as possible, as many as possible, and at the same time, still wearing masks, social distance, hand washing, and stay home when you are ill. So because we don't know. I mean, that's what viruses do. They mutate. That's what they do. They are trying to find a host, and then they are trying to adapt to it and change. So we'll move quickly, but so far the information is that these two vaccines that have been approved are protective against those three variants.
Thank you, Dr. Poor. Any other questions or comments for Dr. Poor? And again, we appreciate these updates, and I just think it's important, even if it's just little bits and pieces of info you give us on a weekly basis, to keep us all updated, because we get lots of lots of calls or emails and social media posts that have actually a lot of inaccurate information, and so this is helpful. So thank you very much for being available.
Can I add something, Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Ben Zalazar, who's on Zoom. You have 5 minutes, and at 1 minute, I will let you know that it's at 1 minute.
I don't know if I want to speak 5 minutes, but thank you for the invitation, and good morning, Dr. Poor and everyone else. I just wanted to add one little tidbit of information that might be relevant to some other listeners or viewers, and that's for veterans. As a 75-year-old veteran, which I am, I called 3 or 4 weeks ago to the VA because I received some information from a friend or colleague or somewhere that the VA hospital also had some doses of vaccine available for the veterans. So when I called, now they didn't make the pitch out to the veterans through their various platforms, as far as I know. I called on the initiative of a friend of mine and asked, "Are you guys having vaccines available for veterans?" And they said, "Yes. We're glad you called. We'll set you an appointment if you're 75 and over, and of course a veteran." So I received my first dose 2 weeks ago. I will receive my booster Thursday this week. But for the veterans, take the initiative, because if you're not hearing this from the VA hospital, which I didn't, take the time to call in to see what their stratification is for vaccinations. I don't know if they're doing it the same way Douglas County, but for us vets, take the initiative and call the VA hospital. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Salazar. Any other folks on Zoom wanting to make a comment or ask a question of Dr. Poor? All right, thank you very much. And again, thank you, Dr. Poor, for your time. We'll move on to committees, the first being the finance budget report. And again, it's in your packet unless anyone has any comments they want to make, either one of the chairs.
Mary Ann,
Oh.
we do have a budget retreat
Yes.
this week.
Yes,
You might
February.
announce that in case.
Okay, February 4th is our budget retreat, and you all should have received information on that. It will be out at our 156th and Maple location, and it will also be available via Zoom.
It's open to
Yep,
the public.
absolutely open to the public, yes, sir. All right, we will move on to Human Resources, the weekly personnel report from Civil Service as presented, and then next is our legislative issues. Again, the report from our lobbyist is in your packets, and then Commissioner Rogers wanted to talk about LB 586. Commissioner Rogers?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask, I think Marcos just passed around the bill. Kim's here if you got any questions in detail, but I'd like to ask the board to support it because it does three things. One, it makes references in the bill to changing a lot of the references from truancy to absenteeism, and basically what it does is a conversation that's been had for a while of having status offender kids taking out of a certain realm where they won't be going to probation. And that will allow juvenile probation to spend time on more serious offenses instead of these status offenders that have to do with absenteeism. Also, second, it should provide for realms of where some diversion program has to start with the help of the county attorney's office. And then lastly, it will add, I think it will, is it $10 million? It will add $10 million to the community-based aid fund that's given out to counties by population percentage to address this matter of trying to get services more upfront. So the hearing is this Friday, and it's consistent with everything that we've been doing. So, I'd ask if there could be a motion to support it. I'll make a motion to support it.
Okay, is there a second? And just for clarification, it is LB 568.
Sorry,
I think I
what did I
said
say?
I think I said 586
Okay.
when I introduced it, but it's LB 568. Any other questions or comments on this legislative piece? There was a motion by Commissioner Rogers, seconded by Commissioner Maureen Boyle. Please vote.
Voting yes, PJ.
I vote yes.
Motion passes 6-1. Commissioners Kavanaugh and Morgan voting yes virtually. Commissioner Friend voting no in person, and all other commissioners voting yes in person.
There was one other legislative bill that's been brought to my attention, actually our attention, from Senator McAllister's aide, that I would ask that we take a neutral position on, and that is LB 267. And it basically has it does have a hearing on February 4th, and our lobbyist will appear on our behalf, since that is during our budget retreat. But basically, the legislative aide said the intent is to make existing governmental consolidation statutes reflect that cities in Nebraska are now reaching the metropolitan class, and these statutes should be revised with that in mind. Their goal is to introduce this bill and to try to work with any and all stakeholders over this interim to amend the bill to best address concerns that will arise. And so I think it's best if we take a neutral position, wait until we see what ideas or issues they bring up that they want to make changes to that LB 267 with. And so with that, I would ask the board to have our lobbyist attend the hearing and speak on a neutral position for Douglas County. Is there a second?
I'll second it, but I have a question.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Commissioner Boyle has a question.
Why are we neutral on this?
Because basically the legislative aide says that during the interim, they're going to speak with everybody to determine what changes they want to make. And we want to be at the table. We don't want to send the message that we're opposed, but we don't, in my opinion, want to present that we support, because we don't know what they're presenting yet.
Okay.
But we want to show Commissioner McAllister that we are willing to be at the table and work with him during that interim to make those decisions.
Good. Well, I think, like most of us, it really trusts Senator McAllister, so I just want to be sure we're expressing appropriate support. Okay, good
Yes,
deal.
absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
Do we need to vote?
Yep. Please vote.
Voting yes, Mary.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kavanaugh, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay. Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Morgan and Kavanaugh voting virtually, all other commissioners in person.
I would like to announce also that there'll be an HR committee meeting immediately following our county board meeting next Tuesday to go over legislative items that people would like to have some more in-depth conversation, or proposals that we might give our lobbyists or Marcos to write up, so that the senators know where we are with some of that legislation. Some that obviously haven't had a hearing yet or have been scheduled for a hearing. So that will be next Tuesday, directly following the county board meeting. With that, we have one other item under here, and that is item 3, resolution requesting that the Douglas County Election Commissioner take the necessary actions to provide registered voters in the city of Omaha the opportunity to vote by mail in the upcoming mayoral primary. And Commissioner Boyle, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce it. It's your item.
Okay, well, as usual, my fun with computers, I can't sign in, so I can't really read the resolution.
Oh.
Nothing new. And my hammer isn't here either, so I'm kind of in a mess here. But anyway, the resolution is a very important one, and I have contacted the mayor's office. I haven't heard a response yet, but I have contacted. I received, as I think a lot of voters did, a card from the mayor telling us, attention Omaha voters, check your mailbox and secure your vote. Your early voting card from the Douglas County Election Commission will be arriving soon. When it arrives in late January, fill it out and return it as soon as possible to receive your mail ballot for the Omaha municipal elections on May 6th and May 11th. So it is very important, because the COVID is still a very serious problem in our community, as it is around the United States anyway, and certainly other countries as well. But looking right here at our own community, it is slowing down somewhat the hospitalization, but it's still a very serious matter, and so we need to respond and act appropriately. So that's why I've offered this resolution for the voters to be able to get a card at their home, and they can fill it out and return it to the election commissioner so that they can receive a ballot at home and don't have to venture out. Many of us are not doing that. This is about the only public meeting that I go to. As a matter of fact, it is. So I do have an amendment to the resolution, and since I don't have it right in front of me here, I'll have to, I guess, just ad-lib the ending of it. But what I'm adding or amending it to is that as the COVID virus, oh, thanks a lot. What I'm changing is, thank you very much, Commissioner Borgeson, that the amendment or the resolution is, whereas this board desires that all registered voters in the city of Omaha be given the opportunity to vote by mail in the upcoming mayoral primary and general election, and whereas this board desires to provide the Douglas County Election Commissioner with the necessary budget dollars to effectuate this request, now therefore be it resolved by this Board of County Commissioners, Douglas County, Nebraska, that this board hereby requests that the Douglas County Election Commissioner take the necessary actions to provide all registered voters in the city of Omaha the opportunity to vote by mail in the upcoming mayoral primary and general elections. And be it further resolved, and this is that amendment, that as the COVID virus has caused the need, the city of Omaha use COVID funds for this important purpose. The approximate cost should be in the neighborhood of $63,000. And I have, as I said, I've contacted the mayor's office, but we haven't nailed that down. But I do think that that's appropriate, and they are receiving COVID funds from the federal government, and it is a legitimate use. So I would ask for a motion to approve, and then we can send this on.
Are you making that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
And let me just be clear, Mike, I'm interpreting that to say that we're asking the city to use their money to fund
Yes.
that. Okay, yep, I second.
There's a motion and a second. Commissioner Marine Boyle?
So that was my question also.
Okay.
Madam Chair, were you just voting on the amendment or the whole resolution with the amendment that?
Whichever way you want. It's okay with me, whichever's best for you.
I'm going to look to Commissioner Rogers as our parliamentarian.
If there's unanimous consent to accept it, then we don't really, that counts as a
Okay.
good. If
Okay.
nobody, yeah.
Nobody's objecting to the amendment?
Nope.
All right, we will go ahead and vote on the item as amended.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Please vote.
Voting yes.
Could we, I apologize, Madam Chair, can you tell me who the motion and second was on that?
Motion was made by Commissioner Mike Boyle and seconded by Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you very much.
I vote yes.
Commissioner Morgan, I was speaking over you. How did you vote?
Voting yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Kavanaugh and Morgan voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
And I do just want to make a quick statement so people understand that we are requesting the election commissioner to do this, as the city will probably be doing it through their resolution today at 2 p.m.
Yes.
At their city council meeting. But I want people to understand that we cannot tell or mandate the Douglas County Election Commissioner to do something. So I just needed to make that statement because I've received lots of feedback that we have to tell him what to do, and we don't. And I want to make sure that our election commissioner understands we are not trying to tell him what to do. We are requesting that he do this.
But if he doesn't do it, no, I'm just kidding.
With that, I did have a request from Public Service Commissioner Crystal Rhodes to speak during the legislative stuff, and I did not call upon her, so I'm calling upon her right now if she's available. If not, we can certainly get what her concern or issue was. I'm sure it has to do with our surcharge. Commissioner Mike Boyle?
Yes, I'm not speaking to that. I do want to speak about a different matter on legislation. I forgot when I was getting this resolution put together, making phone calls.
Okay, why don't you go ahead since we do not have.
Okay. Really, it's 2 words, sports betting. Sports betting. I think we need to express our support. The senator from Albion, I believe, has introduced
I am still
a
here,
bill.
Marianne, but
Oh, there we go.
the issue that I wanted to speak with you about has already been resolved. So thank you very much for the opportunity, but the matter has been dispensed with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Okay, and Commissioner Boyle, on the issue that you're speaking of?
Yes, it's sports betting, and I'll leave it up to Marcos to tell us what number that is at some point in time, but it's really important. Sports betting, I'm not a gambler. I do buy Powerball. I haven't won anything yet, but if it was, Maureen and I wouldn't be sitting here, but anyway, no. Anyway, but anyway, sports betting, it goes on constantly, and it's, it just happens. And so now it's on television, and I'm watching more television than I have, and there's ads on local television to place bets on everything under the sun, boxing matches and football games and, who knows what. So anyway, I think we need to get in on the action because we have people now in Douglas County, I believe, who are able to use their smartphone to place bets in Iowa. So this is really out of control. We need to get a piece of the action, to be honest with you. It is not dirty money. It's being spent and bet, and so we need in on the action. And the counties, I think, need to have the proceeds from it. The state is usually flush with money, and now they're trying to put a lid on us. So I think we need to step up and try to get some of this money for operations of corrections and other expenses that we have that are so $300 million in judicial costs every year for Douglas County and the city of Omaha combined. So I'd like to see us support sports betting.
Commissioner Boyle, we will speak on that during our HR committee. If I'll have Marcos get us the number and background of the bill for next Tuesday. Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
With that, we do have need for an executive session. I was trying to remember, it was for litigation. I'm going to have Patrick come down, and I think it's everything except for union negotiations.
So you have litigation and legal advice and contract negotiations, but we don't have union contract negotiations. It's for other contract negotiations.
Right. Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mike Boyle, seconded by Commissioner Maureen Boyle. Please vote.
I vote yes.
Voting yes, PJ.
Motion passes 7-0. Commissioners Morgan and Kavanaugh voting virtually, all their commissioners in person.
We're going upstairs?